Well, hello everyone, and welcome to Lisa Horton Crafts. I'm Cheryl, and I will be sharing a card today that I made using several of Lisa's products, but I'm actually featuring the re-inkers, the metallic re-inkers. So we're going to be using all three of the metallic re-inkers for today's card. And I've also got the ink pad for the copper pot metallic ink pad. And again, this week I've got the layered anemone die. For my sentiment, I'm using the thanks from the mini sentiment craft stamp set. The nested rectangles, the twisted rectangles, let me say this right, nested labels, twisted rectangles. These are craft dies from Lisa Horton. They're layering dies, very nice. And then I've got a couple pieces of her ish card. I've got black and white. So let me show you. Let me move this out of the way, and I'll show you the sample that I made. I've got several. I'll show you a couple now and a couple later on. Um, but this is the card that I'm going to remake for today. So you can see all the products and how they're being used. And I'll set this over here off to the corner and we will go ahead and get started. First off, we're going to use the re-inkers. I'm just going to put them down right here on my mat. Let me clean off my glass mat. Got something on there that's not supposed to be. But I'm going to start just by giving my re-inkers a shake here. And then I'll just be putting some down on my mat. And it doesn't really matter what order you put the inks down. I just started dropping it all onto my mat. I'm using probably more than I need to, but I'll just show you what I did and you can adapt it to whatever works best for you. I wanted to cover a pretty big area doing this, and I'm not adding water or anything initially, so and then I'm just dotting in this ink, just no real rhyme or reason, just putting it down on my pad randomly and going in with the gold now. I love these metallic inks. they they are just the best. They're so versatile and they're so pretty. And even if you use, it doesn't matter, white card, black card, it's gorgeous, just gorgeous. So I think I've got enough to do what I want to do here. That should probably do it. I just need an area big enough to cover what I want to do. Okay, so I'm going to move the reinkers out of the way. And then what I did, it's a variation on the smushing. I didn't want to just smush the cardstock into my ink dots here. So what I did was took a piece of vellum and I just rolled it up and taped it. Let me see. Yeah, so it's just a piece of vellum. And then I used that to do my smushing. So I just kind of put it down and just twisted it and kept moving it around. And I would look at it occasionally. And I wanted to make sure I get a nice roll onto the vellum too, because you can actually use this vellum to make the same card. So once you got it kind of smushed in and you got the colors that you like, then you can bring in your cardstock and just smush it and pick up all that ink. And it's a little messy, but it's fun. It's fun to get a little messy. And then when you're done, you've got, look at that pretty, so pretty. And just pick up ink wherever you can. You don't need, for this particular card, you don't need everything covered, but you just want to get a nice blending of those inks. And it's so pretty. The camera just does not do it justice at all. Okay, so there's that. And then you've got some really pretty ink there. And when these dry, I'm going to move this off to the side. When these dry, you can actually use use that vellum to make a card. I'll show you a card that I made later using that vellum. So don't throw it away, just let it. And I could actually, let me get another piece of cardstock because I don't want to waste all this ink. So I just sprayed it with some water to grab up some of this ink before I wipe it away, and I'll use this for another card someday in the future as well. So oops, let me get a little more of that on those edges because I'm not sure how I'm going to use it, but so pretty. So that is just the basics of that background. And now let me go ahead and finish cleaning this up. I could do a couple more, but you get the point. So we'll get that done and out of the way. And I've got one that I've already inked up and dried. And so this is, let me find the dry one. So here is the dry vellum from this card. And you can see how pretty that is. And you can just peel that apart after it's dry and die cut it, and you'll be able to use that as a beautiful background as well. So we'll go ahead and use the card for this one. And what I'll do next then is take my twisted rectangles, and I'll use for this card, I'm going to use these three largest dies is what I'll be using for this card. But for the first cut that I'm going to make, I'm going to use the smallest of the three, and I'll just take that on to my inked background here. And I'll go ahead and die cut this. Oops, I'm dropping stuff all over the place. Sorry about that. Off camera for just a second to die cut this. And carefully remove that tape. And then we've got the pretty little background for our card. And then we want a frame. So I've got a white frame around this. So I'll take this one and the largest one, and a piece of white cardstock. And I'll use that to make my frame. And the only thing you have to do with this is just kind of make sure that you've got your two dies evenly spaced around so that your frame will be the same size all around as best you can. And doesn't have to be perfect, obviously, but get it as straight as you can with even, not straight, but evenly spaced is what I'm trying to say. So that looks pretty good. And then I'm going to tape that down because I don't want it shifting at all during the die cutting. Now, if you were going to make multiple frames, if you wanted to stack them, you would want to be sure to put put tape on the dies themselves so that it'll keep that same spacing. And then I'll go ahead and die cut this. And it'll create a frame and an inner piece that you can keep for other projects. I'm a hoarder. I don't throw any of my pieces away. Okay, move that out of the way. And that, and we'll take this up. And since I'm not doing another frame, I'm not worried about the tape staying on the die at all. Pull this one up. I'm being a little rough, but because I don't care about the outer edges, if they tear or not. Okay, so now we have our white frame that goes there. And then the last little bit of die cutting that we need to do for this one is to get that larger rectangle or nested, twisted rectangle. And I'm just gonna put this in the die cut machine. It's got plenty of space. I don't worry about it moving around so much. No need to tape it. I can't see any of the comments. I apologize. Let me see if I can fix this. I don't know why I'm not seeing comments, but okay, there we go. Now I can see them. Hi, everybody. Cold in the UK. It's cold over here today, too. We've actually got level 2 snow warnings here in central Ohio today. Lots of snow. I don't know how many inches are out there. I didn't even check, but it is snowy and cold. Definitely winter. No doubt about that. Okay, so now we've got our large rectangle. Let me move this out of my way. I'll put these away so that I don't go looking for them later. Okay, and then the only thing I'm going to go ahead now, I think, and add my rectangles to my card base. And so this, I got them both angled just a little bit. So I do like a little dry fit before I glue everything down, just to make sure I'm going to put it where I want it. Same with this. I'll put this piece down, and you can do them straight up. I'll show you another one that I did in a minute that's straight up and down, but it just fits in there so nicely. So we'll just put some glue on the back and go ahead and put that down. Well, let me prime this glue a little bit here. Hope everybody is staying warm wherever you are and safe. I know parts of the US are in a terrible, terrible snowstorm. We here in central Ohio, it's not bad. It's just cold and snowy. But other places, it's very treacherous going. So I hope everybody stays safe. Okay. And we'll put that one down. Make sure I've got equal spacing top and bottom. That looks pretty good to me. And then we'll do the frame, same thing, and then we'll do the same thing with that little insert. Hi, Tracy. Happy New Year to you, too. It's been a great start to the new year for me. I hope it continues. Okay. I'll try to do this without getting glue all over my fingers, which is it's a tall order for me. Okay. And then we'll put this down. I think that's about right. And if you wanted, you could, mount these up and add some more dimension. But I think it works just fine flat because you've got so many layers, and that makes it nice, adds the visual interest. And these twisted rectangles are great for that visual interest. I love them. Oh, you're in Florida, Stephanie. Nice. My sister, um, she was here for Christmas. She lives in Florida. She's in Lakeland. And so we'll put that one down and glue it in. Okay, and so that is the core of our card. The next thing I want to do is I've gone ahead and die cut one of uh, the larger of the two anemone flowers from the, let me find where I put them, from the layered anemone cutting dies. So I just use, there's two, a larger and a smaller, and I use the larger dies to cut this one. And then I'm just going to take my copper pot and a brush and just add a little bit of color to these petals before, oh, that's more color than I wanted, but it doesn't matter, it's still pretty. And just kind of moving it in, leaving the centers more white than not. And once I have this inked up well, then I'll glue them together and try to keep ink off my fingers. And just, so that's pretty much all you need to do to those. And wipe that away before it ends up where it's not supposed to be. Oh, isn't that nice? How interesting, Stephanie. I'll tell you, it's a small world. Okay, so then I want to, where's my little thing? I want to, before I put glue on, I want to make sure I know how I'm going to put them together. And they have these little notches on these dies when you go to put them together. And if you line those up, you'll line up the flower the way it's intended. So it's not hard to do. It's just looking for those teeny weeny little notches that are right there and right there on the dies. Um, and so I'll put a little dot of ink there. Got a runaway brush. And then put that down. Oops. I didn't mean to pick it back up. I wanted to leave it down. And while I'm holding this, I'll just go ahead and fluff those edges up a little bit while the glue is setting. Just fluff them with my fingers. Okay, now I'm going to pick it up because it's easier. Oh, you're welcome, Kathy. There's so many. I mean, there are a ton of ways you can use these reinkers. This is just one easy way, but you can paint with them. You can watercolor with them. You can um, all different kinds of smooshing and uh, various techniques you can use. Okay, so there's my little flower. I'm not going to put a stem or anything on it, but I am going to give it a little flower center. I'll just give it a black bead, or you can die cut the flower center using the black ish cardstock as well. But I'm just going to stick that in there and then put a little foam square behind it to give it a little more dimension on the card. Get that little backing off. There we go. And then I will, you could, it doesn't matter the order that you do it. Sometimes I like to put my sentiment down first and then put my card, but put my any embellishments. But in this case, because I'm keeping as much of the background open because it's such a pretty background, I don't want to lose any of that. So I'm adding my sentiments here that I've already stamped and cut. And this one says thanks a bunch, because I've got lots of thank yous to be giving out this time of year. My neighbors help me out so much because they will come and move snow and bring trash cans up and bring mail up during the winter weather. I have a sloping sidewalk, and they've seen me tumble down that sidewalk probably more than they want than they want to see, and certainly more than I want to be doing. But so they're very kind to have beautiful, wonderful neighbors, and so I'm always sending them a little thank you. So this is pretty much the end of this card. I'll show you a couple more. This one says thanks a bunch. And there's the other one that I did first as a sample. And then let me bring in just another set that I did. I used one with the exact same design, but I used purple and silver. I used, it's not purple, what is it called? Uh, Sweet Violet and the silver together to make this card. Same one, but it's got that beautiful shine in there. And then I used the background. This is the vellum. So it was this piece. I did the vellum and I just cut that. I just cut it out of that vellum piece. So keep that vellum. And I made this card, same design, but then I did it straight instead of at an angle. So those are the projects that I have to share with you today. I thank you so much for stopping by. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and be sure to check out all of the lives that are going to be going this week. Tomorrow morning, Claire will be live, and you can see the entire calendar on Crafting with Lisa Horton in that Facebook group. So thank you again for stopping by. I hope you have a fantastic week, and we will see you next time. Have a great week. Bye now.